And okay, we are now operational. So, primary task for today was to review all of the final lessons on the website there. There's a lot of material there, much of it incomplete, but it raises all sorts of interesting points. So I'm curious to learn your reactions to it. Any comments, questions, whatever?
Yes, Chris. The other day, reading your materials, I come to the conclusion of, well, for instance, you know the D&D, the Dungeons and Dragons alignment. I mean, for instance, when you are lawful good or chaotic neutral, or so on, I came to the conclusion of that was a personality model with just to a couple of traits, made in it in a rectangle form, in a square form. But your personality model, the one with bad, good, timid, dominant, or honest, dishonest, make it more for a cube form. I wanted it to have a drawing of it for doing the comparisons. But well, I only had this. I had it drawn on my notebook, but well, this is the cube of your personality model against the traditional square model for Dungeons and Dragons. Well, it was just a comment.
Yeah. Okay. So yes, it does do the, it has that depth in the sense of perceived values. There are other aspects of this, for example, that I have used at various times. For example, it actually goes into another dimension in the circumferential values. What I think that person thinks about another person, three-dimensional. Then there are also what I call accordance values. That's actually significant. That's the degree to which a person is willing to accord that kind of, or that attribute to somebody else. For example, a very gullible person is willing to accord a high value of honesty to other people. He trusts people readily. Then there is accordance for bad, good. A high positive value means a sunny distribution. Hi, friend, let's be friends. And then the high negative value would indicate somebody who, get away from me, you bastard. Unfortunately, that really screws up on timid dominant, because if you're dominant, you are already according negative values to other people. So let's see. And then there was a third that I tried for a while and eventually gave up on, and that was weighting. The weighting value of a particular attribute. In other words, one person places a great deal of weight on integrity, and so that person will be very concerned with how honest you are with them, whereas another person might be concerned with bad, good primarily. Or timid dominant. In fact, I think we can say, I think it's fair to say that Mr. Trump has a very high weighting value for timid dominant. He thinks the most important thing for him is to dominate other people. So, I did have this in there for a while. I played around with it, and I found that, yes, it can be handy occasionally, but its value is too rare to be of any, to be worthy of continued use. there was another minor attribute I had in there associated with the personality traits. I can't recall it though.
And then, well, continuing with that.
Yeah.
Having it in a more visual form, for instance, I mean, for new buys in interactive storytelling, maybe presenting the personality models or even the accordance values in a more visual form, in a geometrical form. Could it be useful, do you think, or instead of having the range of numbers?
Yeah, there's a bit of that with the slider where you can slide it, you know, that does it spatially a bit. I don't know. Do you have any ideas about a spatial representation you think would be useful?
Well, maybe for the circumferential values, having a big sphere.
Oh, yes.
All of cubes inside of it. I don't know if that could help, or maybe it's a bit messy. I don't know.
That I would, in as much as circumferential is a three-dimensional, it's really hard to represent three-dimensional objects in the two-dimensional screen. But the p-values, which are far more important, can definitely be represented in a two-dimensional space. Unfortunately, there are lots of them. And so it's easy to say, here are the p-values for this character. Oh, you want the p-values for another character? There they are. I did come up with one nice thing with the gossip design. I was rather pleased with that. There were 6 characters, and so I organized them in a hexagon. And then there was only one p-value that was important, and that was p bad good. And so I just had arrows between every pair, and the arrows were bidirectional. That is, they, for example, let's imagine these two people horizontally opposed to each other. If this person really dislikes that person, then the arrow going from the center to him shows dislike. And if this person really likes that person, then the arrow going from the center to him shows like. So and I used color. Red implied dislike, blue implied like. I think I also had the degree of color, the intensity of the color, it communicated that too. I experimented with having the thickness of the arrow showing it, showing the value, and I decided no, that doesn't work very well. So yes, you can. That worked very well with up to 6 characters. Beyond 6, though, it just gets too crowded. So yes, you can do that. And in fact, if you think about it, if you're worrying about a crowd of more than 6 people and all their relationships, you probably got a situation that's too messy to start with. So better to keep it low.
Okay, maybe start with 3 characters. If I'm able to build something, I'll let you know.
Okay.
Thank you.
Other comments or questions? Anything else in those? Let me look through them. I didn't. Well, actually, yeah, I talk about the gossip. Did I show the display? No, I didn't. That's odd that I didn't bother showing the gossip display, because that display is very useful. Mostly I talk heavily about, and then there's the MDA stuff. No, come on, Chris. Statements of affinity, the idea that I think this is the simplest and most common thing you'll want in any interactive story telling system. The use of nested clauses is something that I never implemented in my technology, because that gets us into some serious complexities in the representation of events. Basically, you need a level of indirection where clauses, well, anyway. However, that the use of nested clauses does permit all sorts of wonderful complexities. This is something we should keep in mind for the distant future. Once you get into nesting clauses, you can do deals, request. Oh yeah, we had request, recommend, demand. There are all sorts of lovely things that can be done once you start nesting clauses. But again, that gets us into language representation that is pretty hairy. Let's see, Max asks, don't we have a few courses to finish also? I think one or two. This, as far as I know, completes all of the material on the website. If you have, from this point forward, we will not be talking about any lesson material. In fact, let me tell you what let me review what I've already decided regarding the future of the course. What we're going to do is one or maybe two more meetings at which we will discuss the encounter editor. Oh, I have uploaded a new version of the, last night I uploaded a new version of the encounter editor in, to the Dropbox site. Let me get that. No, it doesn't want to do it that way. Okay. Here. There. There. And here is the Dropbox link for that. So you can download that and play with it. This includes the first, I have been working on the demo. It has proven to be difficult, largely because I found all sorts of bugs in the encounter editor. I mean, a lot of really bad ones, because there were areas that I wasn't testing yet because I didn't have the demo. And as I developed the demo, I started exposing bugs, and that took all of my time. The demo only has, I think, 4 encounters in it, and very simplistic. It still needs a lot more expansion. But I also spent several days considering various scenarios, and I finally decided on a romantic comedy scenario. I decided that would be probably the easiest thing to do as a demo. It has enough follow-through to be useful. It is weak in that it is only a 2-character demo. I would have preferred something with more characters, but anyway. So you can look at it. It's called Rom-Com, and you can have a look at it. It is still very preliminary, and I expect to be making a lot more progress on it this week. But at least it will give you an idea of what is going on. This is going to be the basic, this is going to be the thrust of our efforts from this point forward, getting the encounter editor up to a point that is usable for other people. And so your task in this is to mess around with the encounter editor and get ideas for feedback you can provide me for additional, what does this thing need? So that's what we will do. We'll have 1 or 2 sessions in which we discuss it. Basically, if next week you guys don't have a great deal to say about the encounter editor, then we'll conclude then and move to the next phase. If, however, there are a million ideas and we get lost in complicated discussion, then we'll extend it over for a week. After that, we're going to shift to something completely different. Basically, in keeping with, basically, I'm going to found another conference. I never learned. Did any of you guys see the video, the history of the Game Developers Conference that just came out a few weeks ago? It's on YouTube. In fact, I think I can bring it up fairly easily. Let's see, is it here? There it is. Yes, I did bookmark it. And if you're at all curious about how the Game Developers Conference came to be, there's the link to it. On the bad side, the video is a good hour long. On the good side, it has a lot of me. The guy gave a lot of time to me because I founded it. But he did a really good job. The guy went to a lot of effort to get a lot of good visuals and to speak to lots of different people and so forth. It was a very good, very well done essay and or video essay. And at the very end, as he starts to run the credits, as it were, the final video is just a long shot of me driving my tractor away from the camera. And when you see that, the thing to ask is, who was that masked man? Which is a standard line from cowboy movies. Anyway, and one other thing that he doesn't mention, when I offered to drive the tractor for him to take pictures of or whatever, I said, hey, I'll dress up for it. And so I got dressed up in my flight suit and an old World War I leather aviators thing, and these, and the eye covering things, and I put on these big gloves and combat boots, and so I looked like, a real tractor ace. So anyway, I've been wanting to install a couple of warp nacelles on either side of the tractor to make it the Star Tractor Enterprise. So anyway, so you might want to look at that, but I'll be starting another conference, only this will be done strictly via Zoom. And that means it'll be a hell of a lot easier. There won't be any travel or hotels or any of that crap. And the way it'll work is, one of the problems, of course, is, well, how can we find a time that's appropriate for a lot of people? And the solution to that is there will be one meeting each week. And there will be one on the first Sunday of every month, another on the second Tuesday, a third on the third Thursday, and the last on the fourth Saturday of each month. And they'll be at staggered times so that, no matter where you are in the world, there should be an appropriate time for you at least once a month. And the topic of the conference will be interactive storytelling, primarily via the encounter editor. I will not censor other thoughts, ideas, and so forth, but that's what we'll start with. That's what we'll get the ball rolling with. And the whole idea will be, okay, everyone, I'm doing the coding here, but let's see if we can make this encounter editor into something that people can use to start building stuff with. Yes, it will be a permanent thing. It will just keep going on basically every week there will be a conference, 1 hour on Zoom, and that really is, that's not that much labor. But if you want, you can attend as many of these as you wish. I will, send out some sort of agenda. And I will make room if somebody wants to make a presentation. I've got this great idea and I'd like to present it. Then, we will definitely permit that. However, one thing about this that I will require is that all presentations, including my own, must be in some way prepared. That is, none of this, well, I don't know, I'll just get up in front of everybody and kind of talk a little. I have to do this with you guys because this is all impromptu. I'm just making it up as I go along, and that's a little wasteful of your time. It would be better if I prepared a very careful thing, but I don't know what you're going to say or how you'll react, and so it's hard to prepare. Nevertheless, for this conference, we're going to have a higher level of preparation. My expectation is that we will have an initial triggering presentation, short thing, 15 minutes maybe, to get the ideas rolling. And then we open it up to freer discussion. So slides then, yes, definitely, is some kind of presentation. I'll have to learn how that's done. I know there are a lot of nice things you can do on Zoom, and I haven't learned any of them. I know you can share screens and such, but that gets to be problematic as well. So I'm going to have to learn more about using Zoom. Let's see.
When do you hope to start this? Get the ball rolling straight away, or?
Actually, I'd like to start it for the month of September, but I'm right up on the edge of that. That'll be a little tricky because next week is the 30th of August. And so actually, no, the first Sunday of each month would be a week after that. So that suggests that next week's meeting will be our last class meeting. And thenceforth, we'll go to, in fact, I need to make a decision here. Because if I'm doing it based on the month schedule, yeah, that's what we're going to do. Starting September, first Sunday, second Tuesday, third Thursday, fourth Saturday. So I've got to get some emails out to everybody announcing these things. And I've got a bunch of other things I need to pull off. We will also tie this in. Last week I promised that I would get moving with the Thaddeus discussion area. I did not do that because I wanted the demo to be a little further advanced, and I kept running into problems with it. But I will have, I think what I'll do is announce that simultaneously with the announcement of the conference. So the conference allows us to get together and interact directly, and Thaddeus allows us to interact via text. So thoughts, suggestions?
Well, I think the only thing we will be missing is virtual beers.
I'm sorry?
I mean, that we would need to pour some beers.
Mm. Okay, everybody
So
would
that's
have
really a conference.
yeah, everybody.
Yeah, but the idea is pretty good.
Yeah, yeah. So let's see. Will you answer questions at the end of each conference? I guess it may be tricky to allow questions during the conference itself. Yes, my thinking here is that each meeting is kicked off with a short presentation. I think we'll try 15 minutes as our opening point. Interaction is the crucial thing here. If this were just going to be a lecture, I could put that on YouTube and you can watch YouTube. The whole value of something like this is people going back and forth. And that, of course, means you can't have as much careful preparation. But what I've found is that a good initial presentation can start this off. You know, stimulate ideas and reactions and so forth. And I think we can use the standard format of typing in questions as the speaker is talking so that we can build up a backlog of them, and then the speaker can go through them, other people can comment and so forth. So that will be the initial structure, but later on we may decide that we want to have longer initial presentations. So, but the biggest problem as I see it is how to mix in some of the audio visual stuff. I mean, it would be really nice to actually have the encounter editor, some sort of screen share, and then be pushing buttons and dragging things around and so forth, demonstrating it. I know it's possible. I have actually done it with Zoom with some other people, but I'm not sure how well it would work with a large group like this. Oh, yes, I forgot. The People Not Things hat. Yes, thank you for reminding me. I need each of you to email me a mailing address to which I can send you your People Not Things hat. And I'm gonna, one other thing I've decided, here we go. I will also include a ball, a super ball. These things are very bouncy, and I'm sure you all played with these as a boy, and I think it is very important to every now and then go for a walk and bounce your ball, because this is one of the simplest forms of play, and it connects you with your playful attitudes when you were a boy. And I think you need to remind yourself every now and then of what it feels like to actually play, you know, at the simple level, at the fundamental level. And so I'm going to buy a bunch of these, and in your hat, you'll find a ball as well. And you damn well better. My recommendation is once a week, at least, go for a walk, think about things, and bounce your ball. So let's see. Max, you signed for the hat. Confess. I'm sorry. Oh, okay, yeah. Can people drop in and out at any time? Yeah, sure. My plans are to create an interactive project option for the advanced students based on your materials. It'd be cool if they could be part of the conference. Any chance we could get our hats signed? Just be sure to mention that in the email, and I'd be happy to. Yeah, I do want to restrict attendance to to hat owners. You know, the hat is your badge, your conference badge. That is, or people who are on Thaddeus, who, you know, they've grandfathered in or something like that. A problem we had with the first conference were the people we called wannabes. the young people who, I want to be a game designer. And so they would come to the conference, but they weren't professionals. And they gummed things up. Here we'd have this discussion among the pros, and we'd say, well, I don't know, the game balance seems wrong to me because you're overemphasizing the spatial aspect. And then some kid jumps up and says, hey, but what about making him big and blue? And so we were always trying to figure out, how do you maintain the quality of the professional discussions, but not shut out the kids? Well, one of our solutions, we kept raising the price, the conference. Maybe we'll chase them away and get only the really determined ones. And the problem with that was we couldn't. Okay, now we got all this money. The conference, as far as I was concerned, was not for profit. We weren't there to make any money. We were there as a community service. So we raised the price. Now we got all this money. What are we going to do with it? Well, we'll spend it on the conference. And so we had free ice cream, free Jolt Cola. Do any of you know what Jolt Cola is? It's a cola like Pepsi or Coke, only it has twice the caffeine and twice the sugar. So you drink that stuff and it's a real jolt. And it's a classic thing among programmers. It's 3 in the morning and you're still trying to fix those last bugs, and so you have your Jolt Cola on hand. So anyway, we were giving away all sorts of stuff, and we still couldn't spend it all. And unfortunately, that's what ruined the conference. The money, it poisoned everything. People were looking at all of this money and thinking, why can't I have some of that? Anyway, let's see. So I'd rather keep out the wannabes. However, Scott, you raise a valid point that, there should be some provision. Perhaps we can do something where each regular attendee can bring along one guest, so that if you know somebody who's really good for it, you can personally, you send their email address to me, and then I invite them to the conference or something. We can work that out. Let's see. Will the recorded sessions be released publicly? I don't see why not. I should go back and look and see how many of the recordings of these meetings are actually being watched on YouTube. If they're not being watched, there's no point in recording them. So I'll go back and check that. Let's see, other issues or points. Anybody have any suggestions about the conference organization structure, anything about it?
I think it will be designed in such a way that people will get excited about the material.
Well, that's what we hope, but it's difficult to...
Because just from my opinion, from our discussions so far, like we've lots of technology, but I suppose the reason why people aren't getting interested in it, you said you've been trying to get people interested for 30 plus years, and if people don't find it exciting, they'll do it for a while and then they'll drift off. So that's maybe that's more of a comment than anything else.
Yep. And it is my belief that the primary factor chasing people away was the difficulty of using my technology. I built something that was just too big and complicated. And my fervent hope is that the Encounter editor will be simple enough that people really can address it and, you know, embrace it. And that's where you guys play a crucial role. I need to know if this thing is too complicated. I need to know that. If you have difficulty learning it, see, the problem is, you know, I've been living this stuff for 30 years now. And so, oh yeah, it's obvious. Anybody can see that after about 30 years. So I need to know what it is, you know, where do you stumble? Where are the blocks as you sit down and, you know, download the thing and play with it? And please, you know, keep a piece of paper or an open text window where you can just take notes. Wherever you hesitate, wherever you balk and say, wait a minute, write down right then and there what it is you're balking about, so that I can get an idea of what's stopping people. That's extremely important, and I think you can make a major contribution by warning me about these problems. So please, let's see. I think recording sessions is also a good way to keep track of what was talked about as a reminder. Even if they're not widely watched, I believe it's still useful. Well, yes, but in order to keep track, you got to go back and watch the damn thing again and, you know, take notes or whatever. And although I suppose it would be useful in a historical sense if somebody's willing to go through all that video, watch it, take notes or whatever, but the real value of it will be, you know, on the 20th conference, I say, hey, everybody, I got this great new idea. And I explain this great idea, and somebody else goes, and the next week they show up and they say, on the 5th conference, I suggested exactly that idea, and you said it would never work. And then you play the video. And I say, oh, well, gee. So I do that a lot too. So that'll help at least keep me honest. Maybe a compelling promotional video we can share. Maybe I can get some dancing girls. Explosions, that's what we need. Let's see, if I take a little firecracker and hold it up right in front of the camera, it'll look like a big explosion. Let's see. Yeah, we can try something like that. Actually, the best way to do it would be to have each person record just a short video and then mash them all together. But this would have to be, you know, really tight editing. Let me think about that, and I'll have to send something out. By email to you guys, and we will we'll see how that works. Let's see. Well, I still think the main difficulty is to have a complete idea of the process to complete a story world. Yep, I gotta have a demo before we can get going. And I will tell you, I am worried. I will not have a complete, finished, polished demo for the first conference. No way. I will have, but look at what I've got now. At least it gives you an idea, a better idea. Remember, you're the guinea pigs, and so you get the harder test. But my hope is that you guys will help make it easier for the next generation. By that I mean that a demo or tutorial of some kind feels like the best help to get us started. Yes, not sure if the other guys. No, I agree entirely, Max. We gotta have a demo, and that has always been a difficulty I have faced, and I've come up with all sorts of things that help understand, but until you can see a complete, fully operational, fully functional demo, I don't think anybody is ever going to really understand how all of this works. So anyway, yes, that's my prime thing. And I don't know, maybe at some point we can recruit you guys, say each one of you, you have to write one encounter for the demo. Then, yeah, I think that's a good idea. Let's see. The way they see, they don't have to be done in a sequence. You don't have to fit into anything. You can stick something in almost anywhere. You could put a few connectors if you want. Yeah, I like that idea because you're doing the work. Let's see. What kind of presentation do you expect? Initially, I can imagine people sharing their experience while prototyping their story worlds. Yes, indeed. What I am thinking of here is that I'll do the first few. And basically, my hope is that somebody at some point will say, hey, I'd like to do a presentation about this. And I can say, good, you do that work and give me a week off. In fact, one idea I have right off the top of my head, if each participant is going to write one encounter, then perhaps we could have somebody, in effect, document their process, you know, take notes as they're working about what their problems are. And then they give a 15-minute presentation saying, well, I tried to write an encounter. Here's how I went about it. Here's where I got stuck. And here's how I eventually solved it. And you can now download the encounter here. Oh, in fact, we're going to need a system for teamwork on the encounters. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. I understand there is all sorts of lovely technology now allowing teams of programmers to work together. I have always been a lone wolf. I have never worked together with anybody, and so I have no idea how any of that stuff works. I'm gonna need one of you to volunteer to say, Chris, I've done this a million times. Here's how we could organize something. The trick here is that we're dealing with a file, an XML file that, you know, people can play with. And I know that an earlier form of these technologies involved a checking out system where you check out the file and nobody else can touch it while you're working on it. And then you check it back in and then other people can take it. Is that still the best we've got, or are there things that allow simultaneous teamwork? We're still.
Nowadays, you can have many people working on the same file simultaneously, and if the change they make are on different portions, the system itself can do the merging. But of course, if two persons change the same portion, then you will have a conflict. While ready to change, but
that type of integration, though, is going to be making assumptions about the file structure, isn't it? Assumptions that we may not be able to satisfy.
It just sees the file as a text file, so it basically looks at line by line, essentially. So
it goes down to that level.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm going to ask you guys if you're willing to be patient and try to teach a dinosaur how to use this, how to fly a Boeing 747. Please send me an email to volunteer to organize that. Let's see. I was thinking of showcasing the value of the encounter editor and being on the ground floor, pioneer new paradigm. Good point. Yeah, in order to do that, we've got to be able to say the encounter editor is, you know, well advanced. It's not finished, but it's already good enough that you can start learning it, and it'll be ready for the full thing. Oh God, I don't have the engine yet. Let's see. Also, because we played so many games, we can somehow imagine making a game, but because story worlds are such a new thing, it's very hard to know how to proceed. Yes. Yes. A Git repository will work just fine with this. It'll integrate the text.
Yeah, it is. I know, because for my main job, I use it every day, and it could work.
Okay, I better look into that then.
And also, we have some visual tools, so you don't have to be on the command line for doing the integrations.
Oh boy. We got to learn new technology. I hate it. So, okay.
And there's a lot to hating it.
There's a lot to hate, huh? Oh, great. Yeah, I may end up asking somebody else to be the manager of this process, and then I can float overhead and bless everyone's efforts without
In fact,
actually doing any work.
if you create an account in any of these systems like GitHub that Ivan suggested, or GitHub or GitLab, there are various, you can actually assign various people to be managers or administrators of the thing. So it doesn't have to be just one person. You know, you can have a small team.
Okay. Okay. Let's see. Honestly, Git is very simple to use. Just a few lines to remember for the console, and that's it, basically. Okay. When you say console, you're referring to Git's console, I believe, not. I mean, I'm working off of a Mac here, and this isn't regularly console-based development.
The command line terminal.
Okay, good. Oh, yuck. I hate using the console on the Mac. I can do it, but I hate doing it because I'm getting into the guts at a level that makes me nervous.
But there are visual front ends. I think
Okay.
I mentioned, or someone.
Okay, so does one download some sort of Git software and operate from within that?
Yep. For instance, the link I just sent, it's a visual tool. You download it, the source3app.com, and then you set up your account in Bitbucket or GitHub or whatever. And then, Leandro, correct me if I am wrong, but then you can clone the repositories in there with just a few clicks.
Okay.
It's pretty easy.
I think so. I really don't use those front ends. I use it in the command line, but yeah, that's should work.
Okay, let me just see here. That's weird. This doesn't allow me to copy a link. Let me try again. There we go. Jeez. Silly. Okay. Well, obviously, I have a great deal of study to do here. Okay, so there are some front-end tools. Okay, good. Okay, well, there's obviously a great deal to be done here, and I'm asking each of you to send me an email with your postal address and I forget what else, and volunteering for Git, playing a role with the Git thing. We'll see where this takes us. Anything else? Oh, gonna be on vacation in a few days. How long will you be on vacation, Max? Oh, 31 August to 4 September. Okay, so you missed the first conference, but yikes, I got to be setting up timings for all of those too. Okay. I have a great deal of planning to do, so I'm going to go get to work on it. Any last questions, comments, suggestions, whatever? Okay, then we are done, and I will be communicating with you by email, and I will see you next Sunday.
Thanks, Chris. Looking forward to the conference.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.